So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this fourth session on this weekly experiential webinar series on heartfulness techniques. These techniques are relevant in life, in our everyday lifestyle, and they're especially relevant now in times which are so challenging and when we need so much adaptation from our side. So, today's speaker is Chris Mills. He's a heartfulness trainer and practitioner, and he has been for over 25 years. He is a marketing professional and also consults with businesses on the development of relaxation and meditation programs through the Heartfulness Institute. So he'll be guiding everyone today through a practical session on managing anxiety and fear. And before we start tackling anxiety and fear, let's try to calm ourselves down and remove a little bit of the stress of the morning. Just a couple of deep breaths. Let's just take 5 deep breaths together. Just breathe in through your stomach and bring the breath up to your chest, up to your throat. And then breathe out. Let this breath expand every time and really take over your entire chest area, your entire system. Let it relax you. So these are just simple yogic breaths, and they're very useful in just trying to calm ourselves down. We usually do the left nostril breathing, but today Chris will be taking us through a deeper version of this left nostril breathing with more explanation. So I'm leaving it to him, and we're just focusing on some deep breaths to just calm ourselves and get in the right place to learn about these other techniques. So there will be a time at the end for a question and answer session. So please feel free to leave all your questions in the question and answer box, which should be there on the WebEx platform. And we'll take the time at the end, however much time there is left, to answer all of your questions. And if you have any technical questions on resources, we also have trainers that will be messaging back and that will be giving you as much information as possible. So I hope now we're feeling all a bit more relaxed and ready for this. So let's get into this presentation and welcome Chris for this managing anxiety and fear.
Hey, Letitia, thank you very much, and good morning and good afternoon to everybody. It's great to be here. I'm Chris Mills, as Letitia mentioned, and I am with the Heartfulness Institute. Hang on. And we are a global nonprofit organization. We're active in over 150 countries, and we're driven by over 8,000 volunteer meditation trainers. And I'm one of them. And our mission at the Institute is to encourage self-development, stress management, and an evolution of consciousness through a heart-centered lifestyle. And the topic today is managing anxiety and fear. And I think, as Letitia mentioned, it's been quite a year. And even right now, up till today, it's been very stressful. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of fear of the unknown. So I think it's a really good time to talk about this and to present some techniques that can help manage anxiety and fear and stress. And that's what I'm talking about today. So first, a little backstory about myself. I moved back in the 90s from Oklahoma, where I grew up. I got my MBA, moved out to California um, right after grad school. And I had a job lined up in California. I moved out with my girlfriend and we quickly broke up. I was in a job that wasn't so good and I didn't have a place to live. And I kind of, back in my 20s, had a midlife crisis. I developed a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of fear, and even anger around all of this, around the situation. And it resulted in what I call a chronic stomach ache. And I wasn't looking for a holistic therapy for this, but I had taken a class in college called States of Consciousness, and we had studied a little bit on meditation. And I knew meditation might be able to help me. And I met a friend who actually was part of a group meditation, and she invited me to join. I went to that meditation, and after going a few times, I realized that my stomach ache had gone away. So when I went to the meditation, my stomach issues would clear up, and that would last for about 2 days. So I would go on Sunday, and they'd come back about Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday. I'd go Wednesday night to the group meditation. That would get me through Friday, and I would meet for what's called a one-on-one meditation with a meditation trainer. And that was on Friday, and that would get me through the weekend. So I used meditation to medicate myself in the beginning, and it worked. And after a few months of doing this, I realized that my stomach issues had cleared up. But more importantly, my thoughts started to change. That spin cycle of the mind started. Okay, can you hear me a little bit better now? I heard somebody can't hear me. But the spin cycle of the mind started softening, and my thoughts became more inspired. And with that, I kept meditation up, and I became a meditation trainer, and I've been doing this for over 25 years. And where I'm going with this is that there are real physiological benefits of meditation. Physically, we have less stress, we sleep better, our breathing is improved, we have greater circulation. Emotionally, we're happier, we're more tolerant, we're more compassionate. That improves our relationships. And mentally, which I find so interesting, and I do a lot of corporate workshops on this, meditation increases our focus, our awareness, our productivity. It makes us better problem solvers. We're better in decision making, and it improves our creativity. Let's back this up a little bit. First, I want to talk about stress. So, stress is your body's instinct to defend itself. First, there is an external or even a perceived internal threat, and our body reacts. Stress hormones are released, adrenaline and cortisol. And psychology today has called cortisol public enemy number one. And then what happens? Our heart rate increases, our heart pounds faster, our muscles tighten, our blood pressure increases, our breathing increases, but our senses become sharper. So not all stress is bad. There's something called acute positive stress. Maybe before a presentation or before a track meet, your adrenaline will increase. And that's actually good because you're more alive. Your senses are increased. After the event, you typically go back to normal. There's also something that's called negative acute stress. It could be a conflict. You might stress out a bit, but you should go back to normal after the event is over. The challenge is when stress becomes a way of life, then anxiety gets introduced. And anxiety is simply your body's reaction to stress. And if this isn't really confronted and taken care of and worked with, it will increase and turn into burnout, which sounds a lot like depression, emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, cynicism, and a sense of low personal achievement. The World Health Organization has said there's over 300 million people with depression right now. It's one of the greatest issues, health issues in the world. And Heart Institute takes this very seriously, and that's one of the reasons why we're here. Let's look at it from a brain perspective. This pink dot right here, the middle of the brain, that's the amygdala. And that is the fight or flight center of the brain. And if the amygdala is on high alert all the time, it can cause anxiety. They found that people that are have a lot of stress issues and disorders might have an increased amygdala. But what's interesting about this is they've studied Buddhist monks who've been meditating for decades. And what they found is that the amygdala is actually very small in these people. And instead of the energy going to the amygdala, it actually had changed where the wiring had increased to the forehead, right here to the prefrontal cortex of the brain. Now, this is the part of the brain responsible for problem solving, decision making. It supports creativity. It's considered the mental sketch pad of the brain. It also negates negative influences and thoughts so you can focus better. So if you're suffering from anxiety and fear, simply by meditating, it can improve the wiring of your brain and it can strengthen the fibers of the prefrontal cortex so your fear and anxiety will decrease. There was a study done a few years ago at the University of Pittsburgh, and they found that people that had meditated for as little as 12 weeks saw a reduction in the size of their amygdala, and the neural network pathways to the prefrontal cortex had increased, and the fibers of the prefrontal cortex were thicker and stronger. So there is real neuroplasticity to meditation. It can improve our brain function and it can lower stress in a very real way. Now let's look at this from another perspective. These are brain waves, and right now we are in beta. That is awake, normal, alert consciousness from 15 to 30 hertz. And if we're stressed a bit, we're probably in high beta. And that's not a bad place to be. In the morning after a cup of coffee, I'm checking emails, I'm getting things done. I'm in high beta, and it's very, very productive for me. And again, the challenge is when that state of beta becomes a way of life and we don't tap in enough to alpha or theta. These are deeper states of consciousness. Alpha is the brainwave state when we first relax to fall asleep. We, we slip into alpha. This is a very calm meditative state. From there, there's theta. Theta typically takes about 2 hours to get to when you sleep, but it's deep relaxation and meditative state. This is also, you dream when you're in theta. But I like to focus on alpha and theta as slow thinking. The more that we can slow our mind, the more we can relax and get into alpha and theta states during the day, in the morning and evening, through intention, the less stress, the less anxiety, and the less fear we're gonna have. So hopefully today I can take you all into a state of alpha and theta and you can experience on your own and see what it's all about. Well, we talked about some of the benefits of meditation and how it can help address anxiety, fear, and stress. But what is meditation? Meditation is described as the process of going from many thoughts to fewer thoughts and eventually to one single thought. And in meditation, there's typically a subject upon which we meditate. And I practice and teach heartfulness meditation. And as you can imagine, the heart is the object of our meditation. And the heart is also the realm of feeling. So we could think of meditation as the process of going from thinking into the realm of feeling. And both are needed. In the East, the mind incorporates both the brain and the heart. And there's a continuum and a balance that we need to, to merge between the brain and the heart. We can't be caught up in the spin cycle of the mind. We can't be analytical all the time. The more we tap into the intuition and the wisdom and the silence of the heart, the more balanced we're going to be. So today I'm going to take you all through a relaxation and meditation. We're going to start with a body relaxation. This is a body scan where we'll start at the feet and we'll work our way up to the top of the head. Then we will shift into a silent but guided meditation. I'll begin by saying, please start, and at the end I'll say, that's all. I'm going to ask you as we finish up the meditation just to be silent for a moment longer and observe your condition. Observe how you feel. This is a very important step. You don't want to jump out of meditation and go back to how you normally are, right? You want to stay in a meditative state as long as you can. You want to stay connected and have this thought that this meditation, this heart-based connection is staying with you and expanding throughout the day. Now, the instructions for the meditation, very simple. Just gently bring attention to your heart. And then have the idea or the thought or even the feeling that the source of light already present in your heart is attracting you inwards. Now, don't try to see light here. Don't use your imagination. Don't use your willpower. Don't think of a light bulb or a flame or a blue light or anything like that. In this meditation, you're using this idea of the source of light as a launch pad, kind of like a diving board. You start with that idea and then you jump in. And all we do after we have this thought is we wait and we observe. In heartfulness, meditation is not so much about concentration or focus or extreme pressure on the mind with thinking. It's more about starting off with a thought, observing and going into feeling. We are going into a natural state of flow in meditation, and we might have thoughts. The brain and the mind's job is to think, so we can't expect in meditation that we won't have thoughts. Thoughts are fine. But as you catch yourself having a thought, at the end of the thought, be aware you're having a thought and connect back again to your heart. So those are the 3 steps for this meditation. Now let's start with the relaxation. So please make sure your door is closed. Turn off your phone if you can. Get comfortable in your chair. And gently close your eyes. Become aware of the room you're in right now, aware of your surroundings. Become aware of your external environment. And gently shift to become aware of your internal environment, starting with your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Become aware of your stomach. Become aware of your back against the chair. Become aware of your feet on the ground. And this is where we'll start the relaxation. Wiggle your toes. Feel your toes relax. Feel the healing energy from Mother Earth come into the bottom of your feet, relaxing your toes and your feet. Feel this relaxation energy move into your ankles, into your calves, all of your lower legs. Feel your knees relax. And your thighs. And all your upper legs. Feel your hips, seat, and waist relax. Bring your attention now to your stomach and stomach muscles as they relax. Feel your chest relax. And we'll move to the back, starting with the lower back. Feel your lower back and lower back muscles relax. Feel this relaxation move up your back and spine, relaxing the middle of your back and relaxing your upper back. Your entire back is relaxed. Feel your shoulders relax and your upper arms, your elbows, forearms, wrists, your hands, fingers, and fingertips. Feel your entire arms and hands relax. Let's move up to the neck. Feel your neck and neck muscles relax. We'll move up to the head and the face, starting with the jaw. Feel your jaw relax. Feel your mouth relax. And your tongue, nose, eyes, forehead, your ears and earlobes, all your facial muscles, all the way to the very top of your head. Feel your head and face relax. Feel your whole body relax. From your toes to the top of your head. Now gently create awareness of your heart. Have the suggestion that the source of light already present in your heart is attracting you inwards. If thoughts arise, be aware of the thought and connect back again with your heart. Please start meditation. That's all. Please keep your eyes closed for a moment longer. And use this time right now to observe how you feel. Make a note of any thoughts, ideas, or feelings that you had. How do you feel now compared to how you felt before the session began? In the yogic sciences, this period right now after meditation is used for brooding on your condition, observing your inner environment. Before we open our eyes, make a suggestion that this heart-based connection is staying with us throughout the day. And this connection is spreading to our family, our loved ones, our friends, our associates, our neighbors, our community, and to the whole world. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Thank you for joining me in that meditation today. All right, I want to focus on a few things. We got a few minutes longer on managing fear and anxiety, because there's ways that you can address this when you catch yourself. I'm going to start with number 3, with awareness. Observe your feelings and thoughts throughout the day. By simply engaging in the act of observation, your brain energy begins to shift towards the prefrontal cortex. And this is the place of compassion and decision making. So just be aware of how you're feeling, aware of your thoughts. This takes you out of that reactive state and places you more into the observer. Then if you notice you're having some fear or anxiety, you can relax. Number 1, just simply calm yourself down, doing that body scan. Start at your feet, thinking that your toes and your feet are relaxed, and work all the way up to the top of your head. You can also do a micro meditation. Gently create awareness of your heart and have that suggestion that the source of light is present in your heart. Just do that for 1, 2, 3 minutes, up to 5 minutes between meetings, during lunch, when you can. So those are just some techniques as you develop a meditation practice. Use these tools during the day. It's not just morning meditation or group meditation. You can make it part of your routine. There's also another exercise I'd like to share with you. This is from the pranayama techniques that come from yoga. But when you feel yourself getting tense, there's a certain breathing that you can do. I'll just take you through it quickly. First, you want to close your right nostril with your right thumb, like that. Then take a slow, deep breath through your left nostril. This actually activates the parasympathetic nervous system, so you begin to calm down. Take a slow, deep breath through your left nostril, breathing deeply into your abdomen and releasing the breath fully each time. And continue to breathe like this 8 to 10 times through your left nostril. I'll just give you a little sample. That's the technique. You can do this about 3 or 4 routines of this at a time. 8 to 10 times. You could take a break and do another set. Experiment with these techniques. Somebody once told me, and I want to share this with you, that we are the experimenter, we are the experiment, and we are the outcome of the experiment. So use meditation as an experiment. Use these techniques as an experiment to see how you feel, to see how they can help shape your life. I'd like to open this now up to questions and observations. Letitia, do you want to jump in as well?
Yes, thank you so much. I think I lacked a little bit of good stress in the beginning to realize that my video was not on. So some good stress is good sometimes. One question. Um, Someone is asking, how do you know if you're meditating correctly or even meditating at all?
That's a great question, especially in the beginning. We're going to have lots of thoughts. So let's talk about thoughts for a moment. As I mentioned before, the job of the mind is to think. So we can't expect ourselves just to sit into meditation and not have thoughts. It will do its thing. The key here is the intention of the connection of your heart and just observing. So if all you do in 10 minutes or 20 minutes or even 30 minutes of meditation is have thoughts, that's not a bad thing. You are just getting into this process. And with time, you have to allow yourself for this to happen. The space between the thoughts will begin to grow and you'll begin to resonate with that feeling. It might be a pocket and it might take a while to get into, but you'll feel it and you'll know it. Next question.
A lot of positive feedback. Um, Someone is asking, how does heartfulness meditation differ from mindfulness meditation focused on the heart? Are the purposes of these meditations different?
Yeah, great question. Let's go back to the root of these practices. So John Kabat-Zinn was a psychiatrist at Harvard, and he started teaching meditation to his patients to really good results. And he studied with the Dalai Lama. And the Dalai Lama suggested that he calls this mindfulness, and it took off. So mindfulness is based off the Buddhist tradition in a way, and a lot of the practice is based on observation and awareness and mindfulness and being present. Heartfulness comes from the tradition of Raja Yoga, and the idea of yoga is union. So we use this meditation technique to connect deep with our inner self. We allow ourselves even to get lost in that essence of our heart and that deeper connection. We get into a state of flow. So there are some differences, but I think what's more important is what we have in common. And it's all really a goal of integration within ourselves. Next question, if we have time.
Yes, we have time.
Good.
We have another great question. Someone said, I found myself startled quite a bit when you said that's all at the end of the meditation. My heart started racing and I felt anxiety. Do you have any suggestions for avoiding this?
In the beginning, there's going to be times like that when our heart might start racing when we meditate, or we might even get a headache. It's your body settling in. And I'm going to use an example of somebody that might be in a car accident. And right when you're in the accident, your adrenaline is flowing and you get out and oh, I don't feel hurt. I'm okay. I'm fine. But a couple days later, once you start relaxing and you calm down, you realize you have these aches and you're hurt a bit. I think meditation can be like that. Once we start settling down, our body might start reacting in ways that surprise us. We might get startled. We might have a bit of a heart palpitation. Maybe our head hurts in a certain way. But it's your body and your subtle bodies settling into the meditation process. And it takes time. The more you do this, the calmer your body's going to be. Think of a diver. When you first start learning to dive, you jump in a pool, you're going to make a huge splash. But with time, the splash gets smaller and smaller, and eventually you'll be able to dive into that pool and there will hardly be a ripple. It'll just be calm and depth. And meditation is like that. It takes time.
Beautiful example. We have someone saying that why is each meditation different? Some are kickstart, some deep, samadhi-like, and some are very restless. So why is there no consistency from one meditation to another?
It's a really good question. I think my personal feeling and my personal experience about this is that there's so many influences. We're sensitive and perhaps more sensitive than we realize. So there's outer influences and there's inner influences, and there's also change. So in the beginning, we might have these wonderful experiences, but as we change and grow in meditation, it will change. So we can never really expect anything to be in one way. Like today, I'm going to have a deep, calm meditation. The meditation is going to take a course on its own. And I think that's part of it. The more you do this, the more you begin to accept that sometimes you'll have a deep meditation, other times you won't. And either way, you don't have an attachment to it. And I think that's part of the maturity of developing a meditation practice. And with time, you'll begin to experience that.
Looks like we're out of questions.
Okay.
Everything's been answered. Oh, well.
So
Oh, someone is asking one more question. I just want to. We have one more minute, so um, this person is saying, I have fear and anxiety of driving. Can meditation help me to overcome from this fear and anxiety? And someone else is asking another question regarding fear, saying that I have a lot of self-doubts about myself and I had small fears build up over time and I'm unable to speak with anyone freely. So how can I overcome the fears? So they're both related to fears of daily activities and apparently they're disturbing. So is there a way to help with those
it,
fears
that's
and anxiety?
these are great questions, and these are some of the reasons why people start meditating, to kind of work on these things. And I don't know if you can expect an overnight change, but it's something with time. These anxieties and fears begin to drop off through the meditation process. And I have a couple suggestions. In Heartfulness, we have an opportunity to meet with trainers. And when I was telling my story in the beginning, I developed some discipline because I needed to. I felt instant relief with meditation. I had fear and anxiety. And when I met with a trainer for the one-on-one sittings, I felt like a lot of deep work took place. And with time, I started changing. There's also a technique called evening cleaning. And I'm going to give you a link at the end of this session that you can go to. I would suggest watching that video on how to do the evening cleaning exercise. In the beginning of it, you can have a suggestion that these fears and anxieties are leaving me. Just make a subtle suggestion before you do the technique. And give yourself time and be good to yourself in terms of these fears. So don't be too harsh on yourself and allow yourself to let them slowly dissipate.
So our time's almost up. Um, I want to present the heartfulness.org/experience page that we usually show at the end of our sessions. This is a very nice curated page that has a lot of resources. The evening cleaning or rejuvenation that Chris was talking about is on that page, and you're welcome to try out this technique as well as other meditation videos. You can also use the app to get one-on-one sessions that he was talking about for deeper or more personal work. So please avail of all those services that are completely free of cost. And if you're also interested, you must have seen a poll appear on your screen. We're more than happy to do corporate sessions in your companies. And if you want a more curated program for your own corporate environment, we're we're happy to respond to those. So just leave your contact information and we'll get back to you to do those kinds of heartfulness sessions in your company. And our next session is going to be on June 9th, and that will be on managing anger, and it will be led by Dave Grantier. So I really hope that you can join us for that. And I know that many of you have been doing all these sessions weekly with us, and we're absolutely delighted, and we hope that you're enjoying them as much as we are. So, Chris, do you want to say anything before we end the session?
Thanks, Letitia. It was a pleasure being here. So, yeah, I really appreciate the time. Thank you.
It was wonderful. I really enjoyed it, and I think we had wonderful feedback from everybody. So I think it was a great success. So let's meet next week, everybody, on June 9th, and for managing anger. And I hope you all have a wonderful day and wonderful weeks with hopefully less stress, less anxiety, and less fear. All right. Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.